Well, hello there, my music lovers. I'm Josh from audiophile-heaven, and today we are having a look at Astell&Kern, the best DAPs in the entire world. Today's star is named SE180 and it is priced at $1,500 US, so you are going to have some fun with a very expensive and very high-end DAP. So let's go with Astell&Kern SE180. You may be wondering what's in the other box. We actually have the SM2 module, which is based on an AKM chip or Asahi Kasei. They had a fire at their factory recently, so Asahi Kasei chips are actually in high demand and low supply right now, so we may be seeing some interesting results with those two. The unboxing of the SE180 DAP is quite unique, similar to iBasso DX300, and iBasso also has an interesting unboxing experience, but they both outdo FIO. This is the DAP. I already used it for a while so that I can make this video review, so that I can tell you how I feel about it and what my experience has been with it. Together with the SE180 we get one USB cable, very high quality USB cable, and we get the usual paperwork, also some plastic sheets that you can apply on the DAP to protect it from scratches. As right now there are no cases available for it, not even meter cases, because they made one but it was too short, so the amplifier module was actually hanging out of the case. That is pretty much it when it comes to unboxing the SE180, and I'll start it so that you can see how quick it is when starting up. It doesn't take very long to boot. It has this beautiful design with the A&Futura logo at the back. It is part of Astell&Kern's A&Futura series of DAPs. It is not part of their main series, which is Astell&Kern. It is A&Futura. Those are even better than the original Astell&Kern DAPs. They all have this very cool design. It has a very cool factor. It's like the back slides differently from the front, so you have a very good grip of it, despite it being quite large and quite heavy actually. So as you can see, it takes quite a bit of space. It also has very sharp edges and pretty sharp corners, but I'm actually having a good experience while using it. After it has booted, you can see that I get a red light around the volume wheel, because right now I'm using Redbook FLAC files. You can use it as a USB DAC, as a Bluetooth receiver, as a Bluetooth transmitter, and you can stream music to the SE180, including Tidal, Spotify, and many other apps. It does not have your typical Android interface though. It has a very unique interface. You need to press on the A on the display and go to services. And you need to install AP keys. It has a back button though, which is very useful. You can enable or disable the back button, so you can either use gestures or use the back button to navigate it. That is pretty much it about the interface. The Astell&Kern interface is quite different from the FIO and iBasso interfaces, which are much closer to a vanilla Android interface. This one is quite unique. You can browse your folders. It is quite smooth when browsing folders. It is very easy to get to the song you like. It doesn't take a long time to open the folder. But after having used my smartphone, which is 144 Hz, the 60 Hz display seems a bit laggy, at least to me. So if you feel that it is a bit laggy, you may have been using a very high refresh rate smartphone. A ton of new smartphones come with very high refresh rate displays, even at entry-level prices, so that might explain what's going on. Overall, you can replace the module here. You just need to press on those two buttons and you kind of pull on it. And this is the amplifier module. Very different from my iBasso modules. Astell&Kern modules actually are connected via a Type-C connector, which can be found inside the main DAP, and they have both a DAC and an amplifier chip inside, and all of their modules right now have the same outputs, which are 2.5, 4.4 and 3.5 millimeters, so they have everything. You can also enable all of the outputs to be a line out, so you have true balanced line outs on the Astell&Kern DAPs, which is very interesting. When you replace the amplifier module, it actually restarts the DAP, so you need to turn it off. It is not hot swappable, something I have noticed while doing this, because I did a few tests between the two modules. Having a matte display is quite an improvement over the glossy displays found on other DAPs. It makes it feel much more sleek, much more professional, but the protectors on the bottom and on the sides are peeling off. The one on the back is secured, but yeah, the one on the bottom is really peeling off. This is probably happening because I've been using it quite a lot as a USB DAC, and I have noticed that it is better used as a USB DAC than iBasso DX300, because 300 had some sort of lag and some sort of pop sound when music was starting, while the SE180 has zero issues. You have one navigation button which you press once for play and pause, twice for next song, and 3 times for going backwards to the previous song. It takes a while to get used to, but after getting used to it, it's quite natural to have just one button instead of multiple navigation buttons. The power on-off button is at the top, which is a bit weird to me, having had smartphones and DAPs with the power button on the side, or at least inside the volume wheel. It has a Type-C connector and it supports micro SD cards up to 2 terabytes. So if you have a lot of music, it will be able to support it. I've been using a 256 gigabyte micro SD card because that is what I have and that is what I found to be best for me, at least right now. It is smooth, I have no issues with it. And the battery life is quite excellent. Now, I have seen some people complaining about the battery life, and I have to ask those people, what are they coming from? What else is out there that has better battery life? The SE180 survives about 8 to 10 hours of actual rough usage. I mean, very high volumes, connecting a headphone on the balanced connector, and it just survives. It's just that good. I don't know what else are you expecting out of it. Do you expect it to survive like 12 hours, 20 hours? I don't know. I don't really have a DAP that survives much longer, except for the Lotto 6000, which is actually much better at surviving. Besides the Lotto 6000, every single other DAP has pretty much the same battery life as the SE180. And most of them have lower battery lives when it comes to using them in balanced mode, high volumes, maximum display brightness, changing the sound often, as I do with the SE180. So at the end of the day, I do think that it has an excellent battery life. It is quite excellent as a DAP, as a portable. The only thing that I am a bit worried about is that it is a bit sharp and a bit heavy, but I have not dropped it once. You really get a good grip when you feel it. It also has this edge here that helps with the grip. And having the back closer to your hand and the front actually creates you a kind of lip where your hand is able to grip it. It is okay. I've been taking long walks with it and I was surprised by the whole experience. The first few battery cycles were much lower than the actual battery cycles I'm getting. Like it went from 8 to 6 hours, back to 8, back to 6, and then to 10, and then it's just 10 hours every single time I'm using it. Offer it some time, get used to it, and then post your feelings about it. And we get to the most important part of it, the sound. The sound of the SE180 is what I'm excited about today. I'm excited to be using it. I'm using it as my main sound card for my computer. I really like the sound. It is smooth in textures, it is deep, it is very, very clean, very detailed. It doesn't have a lot of texture, so it doesn't really feel grinding or fatiguing or grainy. On the other hand, it really feels smooth and musical. It really reminds me of those R2R DAPs like the HiFiMan R2R 2000, which was more expensive than it. It really feels natural, and that is the main word I would use to describe the sound of the SE180. It's really, really natural. It is clean. It is all that I have ever wanted from a DAP. I really wanted this type of sound from my portable. I really wanted to have this type of sound. And the driving power of the SE180 is incredible. I mean, it is able to drive the Sandy Peacock, it is able to drive the Audeze LCD X Closed, it is able to drive pretty much everything I have on hand, including HiFiMan Aria, Roson RAD0, everything. It is excellent at driving headphones, even hard to drive ones. But I was surprised that it is excellent with EMs too. No background noise, no hissing, it is perfect. It is pretty much the perfect DAP. The only drawback of it, I mean, honestly, is the price, because it is quite pricey, and yeah, you can't really justify $1.5 on a DAP for everyone. But if you are looking for the ultimate DAP, this might be it. It has a touch screen for controlling. It is not one of those button-based DAPs, but it has a pretty minimalistic interface, so you aren't really supposed to be using Android all the time. You don't really need to understand how apps work if you don't want to. You don't really need to enable Bluetooth. If you connect it via Wi-Fi, it updates automatically, so you don't really need to concern yourself with updating it. It is a pretty much an automatic process, like rigging a live 2D character. That is also pretty automatic. I had no idea about that, but connecting your motion detector to a live 2D character is an automatic process. At some point, I considered making a VTuber that reviews audio stuff instead of me. I did consider that thing. I don't know if it will happen, but I found it pretty funny. The Astell&Kern SE180 is what I would call the perfect DAP when it comes to driving ability, battery life, price performance ratio. So the ratio between the price and the performance is pretty much excellent, despite it being quite pricey, which means that the performance is extraordinary. I do think that the company could improve in a few aspects. For example, the interface could be Android, at least for those who want to use it for other things besides music, like games or watching videos, but you can use it as a USB DAC, so you have pretty much best of both worlds. My smartphone is much faster, it has high refresh rate, and I can connect it to my smartphone to use it as a USB DAC. That works on Xiaomi phones. I have no idea on what other phones it works. We only have one Xiaomi and one Huawei phone in this family. I mean, me and my girlfriend, we don't really have a different phone yet. The other important part about it was the second amplifier module. I will not make separate videos, but I may make separate written reviews about them. This is it. This is how it comes packaged. It doesn't really come with any accessories besides the amplifier module. So it has both the amplifier and the DAC stage inside. So they are worth $350. They are made in Korea. They are not made in China. So Astell&Kern is one of those companies that stays true to its roots. It doesn't really make their DAPs and accessories in China and then say that they were designed in Korea. They actually made those in South Korea. Comparing the original module to the new SEM2 module, I've noticed that the newer module has a slightly wider soundstage, but at the same time, I prefer the slightly more musical sound of the ASS DAC. The ASS DAC actually sounds a bit more musical to my ears. The AK DAC is a bit more grainy, is a bit more textured at the same time, so it provides a slightly better overall detail. But at the same time, the ASS DAC tends to sound a bit cleaner to my ears, also a bit smoother, a bit more musical. The AK chip tends to sound a bit more grainy. It tends to have slightly better dynamics, so you can purchase this to improve the dynamics, but it is not like you are upgrading the DAP, it's more like you are fine-tuning it. So don't expect purchasing the secondary DAC/amp to be an upgrade. It is more of a different flavor of sound. They both have perfect black background, they are excellent with EMs and headphones, and they have pretty much the same driving power. This is one of those DAPs where I can't really say that I totally recommend you to upgrade the DAC amp chip. You are going to have an excellent experience with the original DAC amp and with the upgraded one. I may change my mind though, as I explore it more. The secondary DAC amp got less year time than the original one, so I would urge you to also read my full written review as I experience more with them and as I get a better overall idea of how they sound. I have been using this one for a while and I can totally recommend it. If you need a high-end flagship DAP, go for the SE180. I think that it is a much better investment than going for that new FIO DAP with a fan at the back to cool it off. Like, wow, they actually pushed a DAP with a fan on the back in the market. Like, they can't cool it off, but they expect you to use it as a desktop DAP with a fan, a noisy fan for us music lovers. It's just silly to me at this point. I mean, I get the idea of wanting it to be a DAP, of wanting it to be transportable, but if you can't cool it off, then don't make it, because fans are what us audiophiles hate. I hate my air conditioning for being so noisy, and it is not a noisy one. You probably can't hear it right now. At the end of the day, I hope this video has been enjoyable to watch. I hope you enjoy your time at Audiophile Heaven. I hope you'll consider pressing that like button. Also subscribe to Audiophile Heaven for more content. If you have a few dimes to spare, even pesos, you can donate pesos to my PayPal link in the video description. I hope you will be having a blast whatever you decide to purchase. I hope you just have the time of your life. I hope you enjoy yourself, and I hope we'll see each other really, really soon. Bye bye.